All right, everybody, I'm still wrapping my head around just how monumental these new Epstein emails are. And trust me, they are damning. The emails are not some third party source, it's not some summary from an investigation. These are emails from Jeffrey Epstein himself saying that Donald Trump is attracted to young girls, that he met with Donald Trump in 2017, even saying that he has leverage over Trump, which becomes all the more weird when you remember that he died in 2019 under Trump's term, and he killed himself, according to the official investigations. We'll get there, but even the White House knows how damning this all is because Donald Trump hasn't posted on his Truth Social in 19 hours. That is incredibly abnormal. At the time of recording this video, Trump hasn't posted in 19 hours. The last thing that he posted on Truth was, quote, "In other words, the Democrats are using the Jeffrey Epstein hoax to try and deflect from their massive failures, in particular, the shutdown." I mean, by the way, the ACA subsidies are still set to expire in December, and Republicans are going to eat that politically. They are going to be blamed by all of the voters who watched as they voted down an extension to the subsidies. So that still is a political bullet for them that they're going to have to face next month. But the Epstein one is what they're facing right now, and it's not looking too good. Trump hasn't sent a manic schizophrenic post in almost 20 hours, which is not looking good for them. And it's legitimately because of the content of these emails. Jeffrey Epstein, in one of the emails, said, quote, "Have them ask my houseman about Trump almost walking through the door, leaving his nose print on the glass as young women were swimming in the pool, and he was so focused he walked straight into the door." Jeffrey Epstein legitimately typed this. Now you realize why the Trump administration tried so incredibly desperately to block the release of these files. Not only did they try in multiple forms, multiple ways to redact Trump's name, but yesterday, as this discharge petition was about to pass, essentially there was a vote. The vote said we can put the Epstein files up for a vote to release them if this gets 218 votes. 4 different Republicans decided to sign on and say, sure, we'll put it past 218 votes. So Donald Trump started lobbying, calling them, trying to get them not to vote. They even brought Lauren Boebert into the White House with Kash Patel and Pam Bondi, trying to lobby Lauren Boebert. They desperately did not want these to be released. And just for real, Donald Trump is so squirmy every single time he talks about this on camera. Anybody can see it. People on the right can see it. Even MAGA Republicans have to agree with me here. I'm being so real right now. Donald Trump, every single time he talks about Epstein on camera, is like a really weird, squirmy motherfucker who can't give a straight answer and very clearly did something. I don't know. But, I mean, this reads, "The story that will never die." This is coming from Landon Thomas Jr. Somebody sent Epstein a quote, and the quote is from Trump. It says, "I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy." Donald Trump booms from a speakerphone. "He's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it. Jeffrey enjoys his social life." And then they said, because of this, that story will never die. So somebody sent this magazine article quote to Epstein and said, "This story won't die." And Epstein said, "Read the BuzzFeed regarding my airplane logs and Hawaiian Tropic Contest / have them ask my houseman about Donald almost walking through the door, leaving his nose print on the glass as young women were swimming in the pool, and he was so focused he walked straight into the door." Oh, gee. The guy who has bragged about walking into beauty pageants that he owned and then going backstage because he's allowed to do it as the owner also is attracted to young girls in other settings. The guy who bragged about grabbing women by the pussy because they let him do it also abuses power dynamics in other situations. Donald Trump is somebody who doesn't understand the concept of a power dynamic. Throughout his entire life, he thinks that if he owns something, he has the right to walk backstage, that if he's famous, he has the right to grab people around him. And now you see that translate into the presidency. Who cares about power dynamics? Who cares about persecuting the weakest or the most vulnerable? When you're in power, according to Trump's mind, you use that power to hurt people who are vulnerable, to screw people over, screw workers over, to legitimately, in his words, grab women. All right, what about this next email? Jeffrey Epstein then says, "Would you like photos of Donald and girls in bikinis in my kitchen?" So wait, photos do exist. I wonder if these are the photos that Michael Wolff was talking about. Remember when Michael Wolff said that there are photos of Donald Trump and young girls in bikinis pointing at a stain on his lap and laughing, and it's like a photo that Epstein had in a safe. Those are Michael Wolff's words. Now Jeffrey Epstein in 2015 was referring to some photos. Then he died 4 years later while under custody, while in jail under Trump. And then we hear Donald Trump and Epstein were celebrating Thanksgiving together in 2017 during his first term and after the infamous plea deal. After the plea deal where Jeffrey Epstein got off because Alexander Acosta gave him a sweetheart deal, and then Alexander Acosta was a part of the Trump administration, had to resign. To continue, this reads, Trump and Epstein were celebrating Thanksgiving together. What the F, man? So here's the email chain. It goes from bottom to top. It's with someone called Faith Cates. Jeffrey Epstein says, hope today is fun for you. Faith Cates said, fun. When are you back in NYC? Jeffrey Epstein said, all next week. Faith says, okay, Dylan will want to see you. I always want to see you. Where are you having Thanksgiving? Jeffrey Epstein said, Eva. Faith said, that means, Glenn, check out his red hair. Jerry said, berries, color for holiday. Faith said, he's such a snooze. Who else is down there? Jeffrey Epstein said, David Fizzle, Hanson, Trump. So he's getting dinner on Thanksgiving with Trump. And they said, have fun. This is somebody who had leverage over Donald Trump at this time. Donald Trump was the president of the United States at this time. We also saw other emails of Jeffrey Epstein trying to control things behind the scenes. As in, Jeffrey Epstein was talking to Russian officials on how to deal with Donald Trump. Jeffrey Epstein was using his vast network, even after we knew, even after everybody knew, Jeffrey Epstein was using his vast network to influence politics, to talk about Donald Trump, and he had leverage over Trump, which makes his suicide all the more random, a random bout of depression. What about this one? Jeffrey Epstein said, I have met some very bad people, none as bad as Trump. Not one decent cell in his body. I mean, there's even one where Larry Summers, the former Secretary of Treasury under Bill Clinton, Larry Summers asks Jeffrey Epstein, do you think it's possible Trump has a coke addiction? Which, this is just crazy. Larry Summers is someone who's an academic who has worked with presidents in the past, and he was asking in 2017 if a current president has a coke addiction. To continue. So Jeffrey Epstein sends an article. It says, you're man of the people, and it's an article about Obama. Obama kiteboards horses around Richard Branson. I have no clue. It's some sort of vacation that Obama went on, right? And Larry Summers responds, it's okay. He didn't wreck the world, and he avoided scandal. What does Rumler say regarding his attitude towards women? And then Jeffrey Epstein says, recall, I've told you, I've met some very bad people, none as bad as Trump, not one decent cell in his body. So yes, dangerous. Even Jeffrey Epstein was out here understanding the stakes of what was happening, and he had it's just so insane to me. I think people need to be talking more about how Jeffrey Epstein was talking openly in emails about how much leverage he had over Donald Trump, and then he was dead a few years into Trump's term. Even J.D. Vance said back in 2021, this tweet is from 4 years ago, he said, remember when we learned that our wealthiest and most powerful people were connected to a guy who ran a literal child sex trafficking ring, and then that guy just mysteriously died in jail, and now we just don't talk about it? Exactly. Now, J.D. Vance and Donald Trump are the ones not talking about it, hiding away. Let's refresh. Has Trump posted or... Okay, we're going on 20 hours without Trump posting a single peep about anything. The last two posts that he made were panicked posts about Jeffrey Epstein. This one's about Epstein as well. The Jeffrey Epstein hoax, Donald Trump calls it, trying to pivot to the shutdown, which isn't good for him either. And as he's pivoting over, the people in the White House were trying to court Lauren Boebert into not voting for the release of this. Another email conversation between Steve Bannon and Jeffrey Epstein on June 3rd, 2019, during his state visit to the United Kingdom. Jeffrey Epstein, Prince Andrew and Trump today. Too funny. Recall, Prince Andrew accuser came out of Mar-a-Lago. Steve Bannon said, can't believe no one is making the connective tissue. Making you the connective tissue. Jeffrey Epstein says, F and B only. So Steve Bannon is legit saying, I can't believe no one is connecting you to Donald Trump and Prince Andrews and the accuser coming out of Mar-a-Lago. Well, now we are connecting this. I want Donald Trump's reputation, his legacy, to be so closely tied to Epstein that he'll never escape it. I love you all. I'll see you in the next one. Make sure to subscribe and peace out.